Nobody gave a snowball's chance in hell that the puny Earthlings would last even a minute against the unstoppable military juggernaut of the Iridian Empire. A distress signal pierced the silence of Earth Defense Force Commander Michael Porter's quarters. He punched the screen, jaw clenched. The Cygni Confederation was burning. Ships gutted, stations shattered, escape pods snuffed out by the cruel guns of Emperor Corvus. Earth's leaders huddled in a bunker, arguing as Michael paced. General Singh pounded the table, spittle flying. Engage the Iridians now, and Earth would be next. Blasted to rubble, he spat. Michael banged his head on the star map. Abandon Theta Cygni, and the Iridians would just keep rolling over human worlds until they reached Earth anyway. Backs against the wall, the Defense Council voted to fight. As technicians scrambled to arm the fleet, a ghost from Michael's past glided into the hangar. Alexander Porter, the famous diplomat, the absent father. He gripped Michael's arm, eyes haunted. Michael was charging into the slaughter. The Iridians were too strong. Alexander had tried to appease them, but Corvus craved human blood. Michael's blood ran cold, but he shook off his father's warnings. He had a job to do. The Titan's engines roared to life, carrying the weight of all humanity's hopes, as Michael plunged headlong into the hell of Theta Cygni to stop the massacre or die trying. The Titan and its escort ships burst from hyperspace at the fringes of the Theta Cygni system. Michael's eyes widened as he took in the devastation splayed across the view screen. The colony's defense fleet was nothing more than drifting husks of scorched metal. Craters scarred the planet's surface, visibly even from the Titan's distant position. A swarm of Iridian ships hung in space, a blockade anchored by Emperor Corvus's dreaded flagship, the Obsidian Scythe. Michael swallowed hard, then keyed the fleet-wide comm. All ships, defensive formation Delta 3, stay tight and watch each other's backs. We're in for a hell of a fight. As the human ships advanced, Michael expected the Iridians to pounce like wolves scenting blood, but to his surprise they held position, guns silent. A light on the comm panel blinked. Incoming transmission. Commander Porter, I am feeling generous today. Emperor Corvus purred, his imperious visage filling the screen. Surrender now, and I will allow your precious colony to live. Resist, and I will burn it to ash. Michael's lips curled in a defiant smirk. Generous? Is that what you call butchering civilians, blasting escape pods? You want this colony, you'll have to go through us. He jabbed the button, cutting Corvus off mid-gloat. All ships, you are cleared to engage. Give 'em hell! The Iridians surged forward, disruptor cannons flashing. The human fleet returned fire, missiles and railgun slugs screaming across the void. To the Iridians' visible shock, the human ordnance tore through their shields like tissue paper. Iridian ships cracked open, spilling flames and shattered metal. Not so invincible now, are you? Michael crowed as the human ships plowed forward, pummeling the enemy. On the Obsidian Scythe's bridge, Corvus snarled in rage, slamming a fist on his command chair. Concentrate all fire on that damn dreadnought. I want it as a trophy. A hail of disruptor bolts and plasma blasts engulfed the Titan, alarms blaring as the shields strained. Michael gritted his teeth as consoles sparked around him. They couldn't take this for long. Helm, prepare for short-range warp jump. Maximum power to front deflectors on my mark. Gunnery, load all forward torpedo tubes with antimatter warheads. Michael's eyes narrowed as he watched the Iridian ships swarming closer. Almost. Mark! The Titan vanished in a blaze of light, instantly reappearing in the heart of the Iridian formation. The enemy ships scrambled to reorient, but too late. All forward tubes, fire! A salvo of torpedoes burst from the Titan's prow, antimatter warheads detonating in blinding flashes. A dozen Iridian ships vanished in globes of plasma before the Titan jumped out, back to the safety of the human formation. The Iridian fleet reeled, scattered and disoriented by the shocking attack. On the comm screen, Corvus's face contorted in disbelief and fury as he beheld the shattered remains of his vanguard. Michael grinned as the Iridian fleet scattered in disarray. All ships, full attack, don't let up! The human fleet surged forward, railguns and missiles firing non-stop. The Titan vanished in another flash of light, reappearing behind the obsidian scythe. "Gunnery! Give 'em a broadside they'll never forget!" A storm of shells and energy blasts hammered into the dreadnought's aft shields. The barrier flickered, then collapsed under the onslaught. Explosions blossomed along the obsidian scythe's hull as the Titan's guns found their mark. "Commander, I'm reading multiple hull breaches on the enemy dreadnought," the sensor officer reported. "They're venting atmosphere." On the obsidian scythe's bridge, warning klaxons blared as Corvus gripped the arms of his command chair. "Damage report!" "Shields are down, sire," a crewman replied, panic edging into his voice. "We have hull breaches on decks 12 through 19. Corvus snarled, seeing the battle slipping away. "Signal the fleet. Commence fighting retreat to the system's edge. Regroup and prepare for counterattack." As the Iridian ships began to withdraw, Michael noticed a squadron of human corvettes break formation and race after them. "Landry, what the hell are you doing? Get back here!" Commander Landry's face appeared on the comm screen, eyes alight with battle lust. "Negative, Commander. We've got them on the run. We can pick off their damaged ships." Michael shook his head. "Damn it, Landry, it's too risky. Fall back, that's an order." But Landry's ships pressed on, weaving through the enemy formation and hammering the wounded Iridian vessels. Just as Michael was about to order the fleet to provide support, a shimmering rift tore open behind Landry's squadron. A fresh battle group of Iridian ships, guns blazing, spilled forth from the portal. "It's a trap," Michael yelled into the comm. "Landry, get out of there." But it was too late. The corvettes, caught between the retreating Iridian ships and the new arrivals, crumpled under the withering crossfire. One by one, they winked out on the tactical display, lost with all hands. Michael slumped back in his chair, grief and rage warring on his face. Corvus's image reappeared on the view screen, a triumphant sneer twisting his features. "You see, Commander," the Emperor gloated, "this is the price of your arrogance. Did you really think I would let you dictate the flow of this battle?" Michael's eyes hardened as he glared at Corvus. The Iridian continued, "I will offer you one final chance, human. Surrender now, and I promise you and your precious colony a swift death. Resist, and I will make your suffering legendary." Michael's lips curled into a defiant snarl. He stabbed a finger at the weapons officer. "Lieutenant, fire a full spread of torpedoes, right down that bastard's throat." A salvo of shimmering projectiles leapt from the Titan's forward tubes, lancing towards the obsidian scythe. Corvus barked orders, and his dreadnought lurched into evasive maneuvers. The torpedoes detonated scant meters from the ship's hull, the blasts sending it reeling. Corvus glared at Michael with pure malice. "So be it, human. I will obliterate you and everything you hold dear. There will be nothing left of your species but ash and memory." The Emperor cut the transmission abruptly. On the tactical display, the Iridian ships regrouped, reinforced by the fresh battle group. As one, they charged the human lines, a tidal wave of ships threatening to overwhelm the beleaguered fleet through sheer weight of numbers. Michael tensed as he watched the oncoming horde. The battle was far from over, and the price of failure was too terrible to contemplate. Earth needed a miracle now more than ever. As the Iridian ships bore down on the battered human fleet, a priority transmission from Theta Cygni colony cut through the chaos on the Titan's bridge. Governor Hawkins' face filled the view screen, his features etched with desperation. "Commander Porter, Iridian troops have landed in the capital. Our militia is being overrun. We can't hold them." Michael's grip tightened on the armrests of his command chair. He had to act fast. His gaze snapped to the weapons officer. "Lieutenant Singh, you're now acting captain. I'm transferring command to you." Singh's eyes widened, but he nodded resolutely. "Aye, sir." Michael stood, his jaw set with determination. "I'm taking a team to the surface. We can't let the colony fall." He strode off the bridge, barking orders into his comm unit. "Fire Team Omega. Meet me in the hangar bay. We're going planetside." In the hangar, Michael and his hand-picked Marines boarded a Raptor-class assault shuttle, bristling with heavy cannons and missile pods. As the hangar doors parted, Michael caught a glimpse of the Titan and its escorts launching a blistering barrage at the Iridian fleet. Missiles streaked through the void, forcing the enemy ships to break formation and focus on point defense. The Raptor rocketed from the hangar, diving towards Theta Cygni's atmosphere. Anti-aircraft fire from Iridian positions peppered the shuttle's shields as it wove through the flak. "Hang on," the pilot yelled, wrenching the controls. The Raptor corkscrewed, barely evading a plasma blast. With a bone-jarring impact, the shuttle touched down in the heart of the capital, smoke billowing from shattered buildings. Michael and his Marines leapt from the ramp, power armor whirring as they hit the ground. The scene was chaos. Iridian troops in black exoskeletons advanced through the rubble-strewn streets, plasma rifles spitting lethal bolts. The outmatched colonial militia fell back, leaving scorched corpses in their wake. "Engage!" Michael roared, leveling his railgun. The Marines opened fire, hypervelocity slugs screeching from their weapons. The rounds punched through Iridian armor, sending shattered bodies tumbling. Michael charged forward, his gun blazing, as the Marines fanned out beside him. An Iridian soldier loomed before him, plasma rifle raised. Michael didn't break stride. His railgun barked twice and the alien's helmet shattered. The trooper crumpled, gore splattering the pavement. Emboldened by the human reinforcements, the militia rallied. A ragged cheer went up as they surged forward, following Michael's advance. In the distance, a familiar figure caught Michael's eye. Governor Hawkins, a rifle clutched in his hands, led a detachment of militia towards a squat, fortified structure. The shield generator. Michael keyed his comm. "Hawkins, secure that generator. We'll keep these bastards off your back." Hawkins waved in acknowledgement, his men redoubling their efforts. Michael and his Marines pressed on, the Iridians falling back before their onslaught. The tide was turning. High above, Acting Captain Singh watched the Iridian fleet reeling from the Titan's missile barrage. The enemy ships struggled to regroup, their formation in disarray. Singh opened a fleet-wide channel. "All ships, form a defensive perimeter around the colony. Hold the line." The human vessels moved with practiced precision, their guns trained on the Iridians. They would buy Michael all the time they could. The fate of Theta Cygni hung in the balance. The Titan's guns thundered as it battered the Iridian fleet, buying precious seconds for the beleaguered colony below. On the bridge, Acting Captain Singh gripped the armrests of the command chair, his eyes narrowing as he watched the obsidian scythe pull back from the fray. The dreadnought's sudden withdrawal made no sense. Corvus wasn't one to flee from battle. "Sensors, give me a full scan of the obsidian scythe now," Singh barked. The officer bent over his console, fingers flying across the interface. He looked up, face pale. "Sir, I'm detecting a massive energy surge from the dreadnought. They're charging weapons, but not like anything we've seen before." Singh's blood ran cold. He punched the comm button. "Commander Porter, come in." On the surface, Michael ducked as a plasma bolt sizzled overhead, blasting rubble from a shattered wall. He slapped his comm unit. "I'm a little busy, Singh. What is it?" "The obsidian scythe is preparing to fire some kind of superweapon at the colony. You need to evacuate now." Michael's stomach knotted. He looked out over the burning city, watching streams of desperate civilians fleeing the advancing Iridians. "How long do we have?" "Minutes at most. That energy signature. Sir, I think it's an anti-proton beam. If that hits the surface, it'll level the entire capital." Michael cursed. They'd never get everyone out in time. He switched channels. "Hawkins, tell me you've secured that shield generator." The governor's voice crackled over the link, strained and breathless. "We're at the generator complex, but the Iridians got here first. The control room is slagged. The technicians are dead. We need time to reroute the systems." Michael gritted his teeth. Time. The one thing they didn't have. He turned to his Marines, bloodied but unbowed. "You heard the man. We hold this position. Not one more Iridian sets foot in that complex. Understood?" A chorus of "Aye, sir," rang out. The Marines fanned out, taking up defensive positions around the generator building. Michael raised his railgun and sighted down the barrel. The ground trembled as Iridian tanks rumbled down the rubble-choked street, legions of black-armored soldiers marching in their wake. "Open fire," Michael roared. On the Titan, Singh watched the tactical display with growing dread. The obsidian scythe pulsed with barely restrained energy, an ominous red glow suffusing its hull. The colony's shields flickered, weakened by the relentless assault. They wouldn't withstand the dreadnought's anti-proton beam, not even for a second. Singh's gaze fell on the Titan's own shield readout, holding strong at 80%. An insane plan crystallized in his mind. He keyed the shipwide comm. "All hands, this is the captain. I need everything you've got. Divert power from all non-essential systems to engines and forward shields. Helm, lay in an intercept course for the obsidian scythe. Weapons, load every tube and charge every gun. Prepare to fire on my command." Stunned silence echoed over the bridge. Then a ragged cheer erupted as the crew bent to their tasks with grim determination. The Titan surged forward, engines flaring, bearing down on the obsidian scythe like an avenging angel. Corvus, fixated on the planet below, barely registered the human flagship's approach. His lips curled in a triumphant sneer as the anti-proton beam reached full charge. "Fire!" A lance of blinding white energy erupted from the obsidian scythe, screaming towards the planet's surface. At the same instant, the Titan flashed across the dreadnought's bow, shields blazing as it absorbed the full fury of the anti-proton beam. Singh clung to his chair as alarms shrieked and consoles exploded, the deck bucking beneath his feet. The view screen dissolved into static, the acrid stench of burning circuitry filling the air. The Titan shuddered, mortally wounded, its hull cracking open like an eggshell. With his last breath, Singh bellowed, "All weapons, fire, fire everything!" The Titan, caught in its death throes, convulsed as every torpedo, missile and cannon discharged in a final defiant barrage. The storm of ordnance ripped into the obsidian scythe, tearing through its shields and burrowing deep into its hull. Explosions blossomed along the dreadnought's length, consuming it from within. In a blinding flash, the obsidian scythe vanished, reduced to a roiling cloud of plasma and molten shrapnel. Corvus, the scourge of humanity, was no more. On the surface, Michael watched the Titan's sacrifice through disbelieving eyes. The sky burned as the human flagship and Iridian dreadnought died together, locked in a final, fatal embrace. Around him, the Iridian advance faltered, then crumbled, the aliens falling back in disarray as news of their emperor's demise spread. Michael slumped against a broken wall, exhaustion and grief etched into every line of his face. The Titan was gone, along with so many brave souls. The city lay in ruins, its people shell-shocked and battered. His comm unit crackled. A voice tight with emotion filtered through the static. "Commander Porter, this is Admiral Sato of Earth Defense Command. We've just received a transmission from the Iridian High Council. They're suing for peace. It's over, Commander. We've won." Michael closed his eyes, a bitter laugh escaping his lips. Victory. It tasted like ashes on his tongue. He looked to the stars, to the wreckage still burning in orbit, and wondered at the price they had paid. Humanity had carved out its place in the galaxy, but the cost had been higher than he ever could have imagined. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.